Hello, beautiful souls. I'm Dr. Carrie Meridian, and welcome to another episode of the Meridian Astrology Forecast. Each week, we spend a few minutes together exploring what the stars are inviting us to notice. Not because astrology predicts our future, no, but because I believe astrology helps us understand ourselves more deeply, so we can continue returning to who we truly are. And this week, everything seems to point toward one beautiful message. Stop waiting for your life to begin and become the person you've been waiting for. So, let's take a look at the week ahead, shall we? Okay, so this is a week of preparation. Preparation for a new chapter. Preparation for a new version of yourself. Preparation for what many people know as the Lionsgate portal on August 8th. Oh, that's so exciting. Whether you see the Lionsgate as a spiritual tradition, a symbolic invitation, or simply a meaningful moment to reflect, the message beautifully echoes what the astrology is already showing us. This is not a week for becoming someone else. It's a week for becoming more fully yourself. Because returning to yourself isn't about going backwards. It's about remembering who you've always been beneath the fear, beneath the expectations, beneath the disappointments, beneath the noise. So, where do we begin? Let's start with the planets quietly doing the deepest work behind the scenes. 3 of our slowest moving planets continue shaping this year: Saturn, Neptune, and Pluto. These planets, they do not rush. They transform us over months, sometimes years, because Saturn asks, what foundation needs strengthening? But Neptune asks, well, what dream still belongs to my soul? And Pluto asks, what identity am I finally ready to release? So, what does this mean for us? Maybe you've been feeling restless. I know I have. Maybe you've outgrown something, but haven't quite figured out what comes next. That's okay. Growth often feels uncomfortable before it gets exciting. Sometimes returning to yourself isn't about finding something new. Sometimes it's about finally letting go of what was never really you. So, as those deeper foundations continue shifting, another important energy joins the conversation this week, like we need another one. And that energy is Chiron. Chiron, is often called the wounded healer. And Chiron begins its retrograde journey. And it's called the wounded healer not because it wants us to relive our pain, but because it reminds us that healing is possible. Healing doesn't erase our story, no. It changes our relationship with it. So what does this mean for us? Well, you may notice an old memory surface, a familiar insecurity, an old fear. So instead of asking, why is this happening again? Try asking, what am I finally ready to understand differently? Healing often begins the moment we stop letting yesterday decide who we are today. And as we continue healing our relationship with ourselves, the universe gently shifts our attention toward our relationship with others. And that's where Venus comes in, okay? So Venus is moving into Libra this week. Venus is the planet of love, beauty, relationships, and harmony. It's so nice, Venus. But Libra reminds us that healthy relationships are built on balance, not perfection, balance. So what does this mean for us? Well, this week may invite you to look at the relationships in your life. Where do you feel supported? Where do you feel drained? And perhaps the most important question is, how is your relationship with you, with yourself? Because the love we accept from others, it often reflects the love we've learned to give ourselves. I've learned this, that returning to yourself means becoming your own safe place first. Now, here's what's so fascinating, that all of these planetary energies seem to be building toward one symbolic moment this week. The Lionsgate portal! Each year, on August 8th, many people celebrate what is known as the Lionsgate's portal. While its meaning varies depending on spiritual tradition, its message aligns beautifully with the Leo season. Step into your light. Trust your heart. Lead with courage. So what does that mean for us? Well, maybe you've been waiting until you felt confident to do something, until you felt ready, until you had everything figured out. But confidence doesn't usually come first. Action does. You don't become confident and then begin. You begin and confidence grows with you. But there's one more layer that I would love you to consider this week. Okay? While astrology offers one perspective, numerology offers another. So, numerology tells us we're living in a universal year 9. 9 represents completion, release, wisdom, preparing for a new beginning. So, what does this mean for us? Well, before something new arrives, something old usually asks to be released. Maybe it's fear. Maybe it's perfectionism. Maybe it's the belief that you're not enough. Sometimes the greatest act of self-love is finally putting down what you've carried for far too long. You know, when I step back and look at everything happening this week, the message feels so beautifully simple to me. This week, the universe isn't asking you to become someone new. It's asking you to stop abandoning yourself or the person you've always been. Saturn reminds us to build wisely. Neptune reminds us to keep dreaming. Pluto reminds us to let go. Chiron reminds us to heal. Venus reminds us to love well. Lionsgate reminds us to be courageous. And the universal year reminds us that every ending creates space for a beautiful beginning. So, here's the question I want to leave you with this week. Who would I become if I truly believed I was already enough? Sit with that. Journal about it. Carry it with you this week, because you might discover the answer has been quietly waiting inside you all along. Thank you so much for spending part of your weekend with me. If this message resonates with you, I'd love to hear from you. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, my TikTok, all my social media. Leave me a comment and tell me, what are you ready to release so you can return to yourself? I read every one. It's very important to me. Until next time, remember, the stars may illuminate the path, but you're the one who chooses to walk it. And keep looking to the stars and keep returning to yourself. Thank you. Have a good week.